Good afternoon everyone, welcome to another shed session. Today we're down here with Garth Stevens with the big AMCA behind us. Welcome Garth to the show.
Thanks Jamie for coming down.
How's life treating you?
Very busy at the moment.
Very busy, getting ready with the new car.
Yeah, the new car's up at Rockets in Launceston getting some love, and hopefully we'll have it down in a few weeks.
Righto, so what, are we going to sell this one or are we going to keep this one? Or?
It is for sale, but it hasn't had any interest in it yet, so don't know whether I should put someone in it or sell it off for parts or not. I don't know.
Might need to spare it maybe?
Not planning on using it as a spare, no.
Because you had a big one last year, big crash last year, didn't you?
Yeah, rolled this one, but it stood up pretty well. It didn't need a lot of repair.
It was out a week later, wasn't it? Or?
I missed one meeting, so it was probably 3 weeks.
Yeah, so that's not too bad then, really, for the crash it was, because it was a pretty big crash. I remember seeing it and going, oh, that's a wreck.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It actually, from inside the car, it wasn't as bad as a few I've had where I've hit the wall and things like that. It didn't bounce me around as much as that, but you know, I got the good seats, the containment seats and the head and neck restraints and all that sort of stuff. I had a sore thumb and that was it.
Yeah, right, I actually came out pretty well then.
Yeah.
Oh, that's lucky then. So, where did you grow up, Garth?
Grew up in Launceston.
Yep.
Lived there till I was 18. Went to the US for about 9 months on a student exchange, then moved to Hobart to go to uni, and I've lived here ever since.
US, that would have been an interesting exercise.
Yeah, it was very, very interesting.
Bit of an eye-opener.
For someone from Launceston to go to a place as big as the US, it certainly was. You know, back in the 80s, when I went, you didn't travel much even then to the mainland. So to end up, well, I actually lived in a city called Napa, which is Launceston's sister city in the US, but it's just north of San Francisco, and San Francisco's a huge city, so to be in places like that was a real change of culture.
She would have been hot over there too, I presume?
It's pretty much like this. Napa's about the same distance north as Launceston is south. I think that's one of the reasons they're sister cities. They're very similar climate, big wine growing region, the same as in the Tamar Valley and down here as well.
Yeah, right.
So the weather was pretty much the same.
Didn't get stuck in any typhoons or anything over there while he was over there?
No, nothing like that. No, we had one minor earthquake. San Francisco's pretty earthquake prone. One minor earthquake. Not long after I left was the big earthquake that knocked down half of San Francisco. I wasn't there for that, fortunately.
Yeah, right. I left at the right time then.
Yeah.
Lucky as. What division did you start Speedway in?
I've only ever raced Amperds.
Yep. And how long have we raced them now for?
First year was 2003, 2004.
Yep.
I haven't raced every season. Probably 18 of the 20 odd that have been in between I've raced.
And enjoyed every minute of it?
Oh, it's had its ups and downs, but yeah, the original plan was to have a go for 5 years and I'm still doing it, so you can take it from that I've enjoyed it.
Excellent, that's the way. So what made you want to race at AMCA to begin with?
I'd been contemplating racing something. I had a bit of interest in circuit racing, but didn't take it up. And then these cars started to race, I think around 2000 here in Tasmania, and I thought, well, V8, left-hand drive, they were advertised as being easy to work on. So I thought, well, why not have a go at it? And
so advertised and realistically, are they easy to work on?
They weren't for me because I knew nothing about cars.
Yeah, right.
But if you're even slightly mechanically minded, they are very easy to work on.
Yeah,
There's not a lot to them. A lot of parts now we can buy off the shelf, but even back then it was you go to the wrecking yard and get stuff for them. So with the setup that we've got now, I probably only have to spend an hour or hour and a half a week maintenance. If nothing goes wrong, it's about an hour a week, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
A lot of other divisions, it's a lot more.
A lot more hours involved, yeah. We've got a Formula 500 in the shed and there's a lot of hours involved in that just for something that's so small. So for these to be easier to work on, it's like, that's a bonus, isn't it? Really? Because they run a Holden front clip, don't they?
Well, this one's still got the Holden front clip, but a few years ago we introduced a fabricated clip, so you can now use that.
Yeah.
So because these clips are getting hard to find, it's evolved from basically all Holden parts to now almost all purchasable or bolt-on bits. So we're getting away from the Holden parts. You know, the 253s, you can now use the Chev crate motor, quick change, no longer using multi-leaf rear springs, but the coilovers and the single leaf. So they're a bit more like super sedans were about 15 years ago.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, do you run 253 or a 350?
This is the Chev crate motor.
Yeah.
Yeah, put that in just because I don't have the time to do the maintenance on a methanol motor. I run this on petrol.
Right.
They're built for petrol,
Yeah.
so why mess with it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
People do run them on methanol in the warmer states for cooling purposes, but we don't need to do that here. And what it means is you're not forever cleaning the methanol out of things. You can go to the service station and fill up a couple of cans and away you go.
Yeah, yeah. And have you ever ran the 253?
Yeah, I ran the 253 until the rule changed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had them for 15 or 16 years.
Big difference?
Big difference to drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, very different in how the power comes in, and a big difference in the torque. It's taken me a fair while to adapt to the Chev, but they're very, very similar in terms of overall speed.
Yeah, right.
You go anywhere. We've still got a lot of 253s here. Very, very competitive with the Chevs. People thought that the Chevs would run away with it when they came in, but that hasn't been the case.
No, they're still pretty close with each other, I've noticed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Danger finished third in the Australian title amongst a heap of 350 Chevs too, so that says a lot for the 253s.
That's right. And this year, this season just gone was the first time a Chev had ever won the state title.
Yeah.
So our 253s are as fast as anyone. And on the mainland, there's still some good 253s running.
Yeah, yeah. They're just getting harder to get hold of, I suppose. That's what's making it more, bringing in the 350 Chevs, I suppose.
Yeah, that's right. They're hard to maintain. They're getting very expensive to build a good methanol motor. This is seen as a good replacement. They are expensive. Well, they're reasonably expensive. They're about $10,000 or $11,000 new.
Yeah.
But they're built to do a lot of racing, and we've rev limited them. I think Rodney Bassett's had his 6 or 7 years now, and he hasn't done anything to it.
Yeah, right.
This has been in this car for 4 or 5 years. You change the oil, you change the plugs, and away you go.
Away you go. Just put some juice in her and let's go racing.
So yeah, if we only run 14, 15 nights, they're designed to do about 100. So you work that out. That's a bit over 6 seasons without doing anything to them.
Yeah, right. And tyres, do they run a governed tyre, or is it pretty much a range of tyres you can choose from?
No, single tyre, same tyre all round. It's an American Racer hard compound, basically a steer tyre. So there's no change in the pattern front to rear.
Yeah.
So you can run them on any corner, and they have to be stamped with the AMCA dye. So they come out of the States pre-stamped.
Yeah, yeah. And you can't groove them or sipe them or anything like that?
No grooving or siping. We are allowed to buff them now, which we hadn't been in the past, but apart from that, you can't do anything to the tree.
Yeah, right. Oh, interesting. So what brand of car do we have here, and what brand are you going to?
This is a Cougar chassis built in Victoria.
Yeah. It's
probably about 14 or so years old, I think. I've had it for 6. The new car is Matt Smith's old car that he sold last year. That's a Panther chassis, also out of Victoria. The 3 big manufacturers in Australia are Kempe from Queensland, and Panther and Cougar in Victoria. They're the 3 main manufacturers of the chassis.
I heard a little rumour that you'd never go away from a Cougar. Is that true?
I don't know where all of these rumours start. No, I had a Panther in the past that is now with Dave Birch. He's had it for a few years. I just happened to run into this car. I didn't buy it because of the chassis or for any other reason like that. It just happened to be available. So,
and it looks good. It looks excellent on the track too. I like the colour scheme of this thing.
Yeah,
very bright, and it stands out. There's a lot of cars out there that they go the darker colours, and they're very hard to stand. They don't stand out as well as what I think these cars do, and they're nice and shiny and bright, and so it's a credit to you. Cars always look good.
Thank you.
Do. So are we staying with the same sort of colour scheme with the new car, or are we going to mix it up a bit this year?
Well, it's all black at the moment, and I haven't picked up any sponsors yet, so it might be all black for a little while.
Also, any sponsors out there that want to jump on board, feel free to give Garth a yell, and he'll definitely look after you, I would say. So, we've gone through all why you've done that. Have you ever thought about going into any other divisions to race, or...?
Not many years. A few years ago, I was on the mainland and I saw V8 dirt modifieds run, and I thought they were a pretty good-looking jigger, and
They are pretty wild.
and I thought if they ever came to Tasmania, I wouldn't mind having a run, but I don't think there's any risk of it.
Because these are very close to them, aren't they? They're not a lot of difference.
Well, they're a centre seated, so they're more like a sprint car, but with a sedan type chassis, and more like a late model rear suspension and a sprint car front suspension. So they are a fair bit different.
Yeah, right.
But you know, this category in America, these are known as modifieds. What we call V8 dirt mods are called big block modifieds in the US, and they tend to say that the modifieds are feeder for the big blocks, because they do have a bit of a similarity about them. But they're enough different that they would be a pretty big step.
And numbers are good with those now, aren't they? Like, numbers dropped off there a few years ago, but they're starting to build back up in the AMCAs.
Yeah, in Tasmania a few years ago, we had to drop out of a few meetings because we couldn't get 8 cars together. Since then, we've worked really hard on getting cars out and getting people interested in it again, and we had 27 last year. Looks like we'll be about 25 again this year.
That's good numbers.
It is, yeah. Victoria's went through a bit of a slump the last few years. They're building back up again. People got a little bit put off by the introduction of the Chev, but I think now people are seeing that they are a good motor, and they're not. The 253s guys are competitive with it, so they're starting to come back a little bit as well.
So does the 253 have more torque download than the 350 Chev, or is it the other way around?
Other way around.
Yeah.
The Chev's got a lot more torque, so a lot more risk of wheel spin coming off the corners, and at the starts you've got to really drive the throttle a lot more with these than you had to with the 253s.
Yeah, right. Yep. And do these run 4 disc brakes or just the 3?
You can run 4 if you want, with a tap on the right front if you want to. I've only run the 3.
Yeah.
We don't have to have the caliper on the right front if we don't want to.
Yeah, excellent. So why did you choose AMCAs to begin with?
Yeah, the reason that when they were introduced, I thought I liked the look of them. It had that sort of American background to them, the left-hand drive aspect to it, and the advertised ease of maintenance and the close racing.
Yeah.
They're not easy to drive. I didn't know that then, but they're not easy to drive. They don't have a lot of grip, so working very, very hard to get any mechanical grip.
Are they better on a wet track or a slightly slicker dry track?
When the track's wet and heavy, you can just bore around flat out.
Yeah, right.
There's not a lot to it then, but once they're slick, they are very hard to drive. You'll see on any given night, once the track goes slick, particularly newer drivers, they'll be spinning out a lot, because they do lack mechanical grip, and you've got to know what you're doing to get them to grip up when it goes slick.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, what division would you race if you wasn't racing AMCAs?
If I had the chance, I wouldn't say no to driving a super sedan.
Yep.
I think that'd be all right. No good in a sprint car. I'm too old for that. I think the reflexes are too slow.
You're too old for a sprint car.
No, I think the reflexes are a bit slow. That's a young man's caper, that is.
Yeah. So do you have a favourite event that you would like to race in, or you have raced in, or?
I enjoy the Aussie titles. I've only run it 5 times, I think, maybe 6. I wish I could go a little bit more when they're on the mainland, but I just don't have time. But that's a great weekend for AMP, because you make friends all over the country when you run these cars, as you probably do in any division in Speedway, and to catch up with everyone over that weekend and get a fair bit of racing in. It's a very, very good weekend.
They're a great bunch of blokes too, I've noticed.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the same wherever we are.
Yeah. And I've noticed as well, if you do a bit of damage to your car, there's a lot of blokes there to help you out. If you haven't got someone there to help you out, they'll try and do the best they can to get you back out there racing with them.
Yeah,
which is great to see.
I don't have a pit crew. I go to the track by myself, but I know that if I need help, there'll always be someone that'll throw in and get stuck in here for me.
Everything yourself.
Yeah, that's the beauty of these cars. If you don't get any damage, you just change your shocks, you change your gear set, you fill her up, and away you go. There's not a lot to them. I've set the cockpit of the car up so I can get the window net up myself. I can get the belts on myself. I don't need anyone else. The main problem you have at the track is someone to back you out of the pit so you don't drive into someone.
Especially at Hobart when it's nice and tight down the bottom end there.
Yeah, when you're stuck right in. But again, there's always someone in the next pit who will come over and guide you out when you need it. So.
Yeah. Like I said, they're always there to help out, aren't they?
Yeah.
Did you have a hero when you was growing up?
In racing?
Oh, in racing, in anything really?
Well, back, I'm 52 now, nearly 53. So growing up, it was the stars of Speedway that we all know. It was Cez Hendricks, Neville Harper, Chaz Kelly. Those were the blokes we idolised. Yeah. That was all we talked about when we talked about Speedway.
Yeah, that's it. So you've been around it all your life then?
I've been around motor racing all my life, absolutely. Yeah. My father raced, built and raced sports sedans. Two of my uncles raced sports sedans. Yeah. My mother's a life member of Women for Wheels at Symonds Plains.
Oh, right, yeah.
I think I went to my first race meeting at Basketball when I was 6 weeks old.
Yeah, right.
Didn't miss a single race meeting at Symonds Plains till I was 18.
So it was a big family sort of
It was
thing,
what we did. It was what we did. Yeah.
And did it bring the family closer to motorsport, or?
I think it brought a lot of people together. Any given weekend, we'd be at someone's house involved in motor racing, looking at cars. Our next door neighbour raced. The bloke over the back fence was the clerk of the course at Symonds Plains.
Yeah.
It wasn't unusual for us to be one night at Darryl Jones's house, one night at Gene Cook's house. I can remember going to Graham Parsons' farm out at Sprayton.
Geez, Graham Parsons, that's a name I haven't heard for a lot of years.
Yeah, stayed at Graham's farm when I was a kid a few times.
Yeah, right.
I can remember going to Chaz Kelly's house as a kid. If there was a car to be worked on, Dad was there doing it, and I'd tag along.
What was your dad's name?
John.
John, yeah, right. Yeah, cool. Well, I can't say I've heard that name around the traps.
Most people know him as Killer.
Oh, right, yeah, I have heard that. Yeah. So you had. Did you have anything to do with the tarmac days when Penguin was tarmac and Latrobe was tarmac?
I can remember going to Latrobe when it was tarmac. I don't think I ever went as a kid to Penguin.
Yeah.
I certainly heard about it,
yeah.
But I've got pretty vivid memories, particularly for some reason of Grand Prix midgets running at Latrobe. They were very, very fast and a bit scary when they went upside down, the sparks and so on. I can remember one night sprint cars running there. That was a bit interesting. But the big, Grand Nationals and things.
Grand Nationals are a wild piece of machinery.
And fast around there.
Yeah, I used to love. I can always remember them because they used to have the flutes coming up out of the bonnet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Back in the old school days, they were and big wide tyres on the back of them. They were quite interesting. Is there an event you really want to win?
Oh, look, I'd be happy to win anything at this stage.
Yeah, right.
No, look, I just enjoy racing. I've pretty much resigned to myself that I'm not going to win races anymore. It's about 10 years since I've won a feature. Yeah. Probably even in these cars, it is a young man's caper.
Yeah.
They're prepared to take a few more risks than I am. But I just enjoy racing. If I could pick up a heat win here or there this year, I'll be pretty happy with it. I'd like to win Boxing Night. There's a big crowd at Carrick, and we get
always is Boxing Night in there.
We're running at Carrick at Boxing Night this year, so I'd like to win that night.
So you start on the 28th of October? November, I think.
I think our first run's November.
Yeah, so not long to go then.
No, not far away.
Yeah, excellent. How does Mum and Dad go with your racing?
Look, Dad passed away this year. He didn't have much to do, or didn't have anything to do with my racing. I hadn't seen him for a long time, so we didn't have anything to do with it. Mum didn't like it, having a long background in racing. Mum and Dad used to go to Longford when that was running, and the early days of Symonds Plains, and Mum had seen people killed and actually watched them die, and she didn't want that.
Yeah.
So she's not that keen on me racing, even though she had a very long involvement in motor racing. She certainly didn't want that.
It's a bit different when it's your son.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how long was your mum involved, for years or?
She was in Women for Wheels. She must have been involved for 20 or 25 years.
Yeah, right. That's a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
She was a life member, or became a life member.
Yeah, right. No, that's excellent, especially Longford days. That's a long time. My dad raced bikes around there years ago. That's how I first got involved in motorsport. Was when he used to race the bikes around there. Yeah, that's a long time ago. I wish they still had that track operational. Actually, it'd be great to see.
It would, absolutely.
The modern day V8s going around there. Are we a V8 supercar fan or a Formula One fan, Garth?
Look, I'd like to say V8 supercars, but I think they've lost their way a bit in the last few years. Yeah. I've tried to watch a few races this year, but it's just not what it was.
It's not what it used to be.
It's hard work, and even going to the racetrack, it's not what it used to be.
Yeah.
I know everyone lives in the good old days, and we forget about how poor some things were, but there's not a lot of passing, there's not a lot of real activity and action in the supercars. So, I've always enjoyed Formula One. is a lot closer now than it's ever
They're
been.
getting there with it, aren't they? Like they're slowly getting it back to where it used to be.
Yeah, and some very, well, obviously very good drivers. That probably goes without saying. That's a very entertaining weekend of racing if you can get along to a Grand Prix and have a look.
I went to the first one in Adelaide, and I remember the noise. Like, it was just so loud. Everyone was wearing earmuffs and earplugs, and I think, why? I soon worked out why they were wearing them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because they definitely do scream. So, Australian title last year.
Yep.
Any plans to go to the mainland this year and go again?
Look, I went over to the New South Wales title at Moama this year because the Aussie title's at Moama this coming season to have a run and see what it was like. I'm hoping to get there, but that'll all depend on work and some other bits and pieces in the personal life. But I'd really like to get there with the new car to see how that goes.
It's a good car, that thing, mate.
It is a good car. The Panthers are a good car, and I think they're much better suited to the slick tracks on the mainland than this one. Yeah, right. I really struggled with this one on the mainland this year.
Yeah. So is there a lot of difference between their tracks over there to here in Tassie?
I think I've been to a couple of South Australian tracks. They're fairly similar. In Victoria, the surface seems to be a lot harder. You don't bite into the track like you do here. You're on the top of the track all the time. And so you're really chasing that grip, particularly with these. You're really chasing grip all the time. The Victorians, they've got it down pat. They run off into the distance and you don't see them again.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it just seems like the tracks are harder. They're much more compacted than our tracks.
So they're just prepped a bit different to our tracks now.
Yeah. Even when they're wet, once the slime and slosh goes off it, they're just hard, and it's a different style of racing.
Would that have anything to do with humidity, maybe, or?
I'm not sure whether it's just the temperature in the ground. There aren't many. Or I've not been to a track in the south of Victoria. I've only been in the central and the north, and the days are very hot. The ground's very hot. Yeah. So it may have something to do with that. I don't know, but it's a very different style of racing.
So if you ever have to hang the boots up one day, will you hang it up at Speedway, or could you see yourself going into circuit racing, or?
No, I think until I've had enough of racing, it'll be Speedway. Yeah. I've had a bit of a drive around in a few different cars on the circuit. You come out of the hairpin at Symmons Plains, and the next corner's that far away. There's not much to do really. And, at least with Speedway, you're driving the thing the whole time. It's a lot more aggressive in the action, and you're working a lot harder.
It's not easy.
No.
Not easy at all. No. Yeah. No, anyone says turning left's easy, no, I beg to differ. Favourite track you've raced on?
My favourite track is Carrick.
Yeah.
I think Carrick really suits these cars. You have to drive Carrick. You've got to use the brake. You've got to use the throttle. You've got to steer. Murray Bridge, I enjoyed running at Murray Bridge. Reasonably high banked and fast. Mildura I enjoyed. I've been there a couple of times. But probably, Carrick's my favourite, and probably Murray Bridge after that.
Track you want to race on, but you haven't as yet?
Warrnambool. I'd love to go.
Everyone chooses Warrnambool. They like that track. Yeah.
We don't get to run on banked tracks here. Even the modestly banked tracks on the mainland have a much more banking than we've got. So that's a challenge that I think everyone in Tasmania wants to take up to run there. Toowoomba's the same. If I could ever get up to Toowoomba, I'd want to do that. And the Motorplex. It's a long tow to Perth.
That's a big track, Motorplex. That's one track that I think should be highly rated more than what it probably is in Australia. It's a big, wide, open track, and it's very fast racing, which is good to see.
I think if it was in Victoria or New South Wales or Queensland, people would be raving about it. But like most things, Western Australia's a long way away. Don't get the same attention that they would if they were here.
Fair hobby, fair hack over there, that's for sure. Hobbies? Do you have any hobbies apart from racing?
Apart from racing, a set of golf clubs over there. I don't get to use them very often. I haven't actually played since before COVID. I was going to break them out and go down to the driving range and see if I can still hit the ball sometime soon. I do enjoy a round of golf every now and again.
Where's the closest course around here?
The closest club is Tea Tree. It's not that far away. and then this another one, the public course down at Richmond's the only really close public course now.
Is Tea Tree the one on the side of the highway there?
Yeah.
You said? I'm amazed by that. Every time I drive past there, I say to my mate Johnny, we've got to go and have a round of golf there. It looks like it's up and down and all over the place.
Cross some creeks and rivers.
Yeah, right. It looks pretty nice little course down there actually. We play Ulverston and Penguin most of the time up our way. Ulverston's like one of the longest golf courses I've ever walked on. I think it's about 8 kilometres for 18 holes. It's a long way.
Good exercise.
But it's a very tight little course. So, do we follow AFL?
I do, yeah.
What team do we follow?
The Hawks.
Hawks.
Like all right-minded people.
Oh, right, yeah. I won't say anything about that. We finished near bottom of the ladder this year, if not the bottom. I think West Coast did. So. Yeah, I can't really talk too much after the season we've had, but Hawthorn started to get their game together there towards the end of the season. So.
Yeah, look, they're heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
You know, I've been spoiled as a Hawthorn supporter. Having won a premiership now for 7 years, that's the second longest drought since I've been alive. So,
yeah, right.
You know, we win premierships.
Yeah, you do.
And people don't like that, and that's great.
I remember back in the 80s, in the early 90s, it was always Essendon and Hawthorn grand finals most of the time.
No, we had played Essendon 3 times. Then we played Carlton twice.
Oh yeah, Carlton too, yeah.
Then we flogged Melbourne. Then we had the '89 war with Geelong. Beat West Coast in '91.
Yeah, don't talk about that.
when they were the red hot favourites.
Yeah, we was too. Favourite player?
Playing at the moment, you couldn't go past James Sicily.
He's a good footballer.
Very, very good. First All-Australian honours this year. Favourite player all time, I think, is John Platten.
Yeah, he was a good footballer.
Yeah, as a rover in an era of a lot of great rovers, I think he was a bit underrated.
Yeah.
If you ever watch some old footage of just his skills and for a small bloke, his courage, he was a terrific player.
Yeah, he was. Won a Brownlow too, I think, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So at least he got one thing for himself because he was a very underrated player. So cars you wish you've had. And you got rid of them, and you wish you still had them.
I've never been one to buy road cars of any great interest.
Yeah.
Road cars to get you from A to B. But as a young bloke, I had a Lancia Beta with a 2-litre 4-cylinder motor with twin Webers on it, and that went all right. That's probably the only car that I've ever really had that I thought, gee, I wish I still had it. It didn't look like it'd go fast. The old hatchback, I don't know if you remember those Lancias from the early 80s, the old Betas. They looked like a bit of a family wagon, but it had everything under it that you needed.
Bit of a sleeper.
Yeah, it went all right.
That's the way. So what do you do for a job, Garth?
I'm a lawyer.
A lawyer?
Yeah.
All right. Keep you busy?
Yeah, it's a very demanding profession. It's hard work and long hours ordinarily.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be. It'd be a very hard job to do.
Yeah.
Criminal or?
I specialised in criminal law for 26 years.
Yep.
I've just left that and started up with a job with the government.
Yeah, right.
Which will probably take me through to retirement, I hope.
Yeah, you hope so.
I hope so, yeah. Doing criminal trials is a very, very hard caper. Demanding, long hours, very, very nasty subject matter. You see a lot of disgusting
I can imagine some of the
information
stuff you have to look at and go through. It wouldn't be much fun at all.
No, it wears you down, and you don't realise until you're not doing it anymore just how hard it was.
Yeah. If money wasn't an issue, what would you be doing?
Money wasn't an issue. I'd probably be on a flight somewhere overseas.
Back to America?
No, look, I think I've been to America a few times. There are a few things I'd still like to see in America, but I've done most of the things that I wanted to do in America. There's a fair few places in Europe I'd like to still have a look at. A fair few places in Asia. I've got a 9-year-old son, he's desperate to go to Japan, so we'd probably be heading there. We might go next year to Japan. I studied ancient history at uni. Went to Greece a few years ago. I'd love to go to Rome and Prague
I'd love to go to Greece.
a few of the older cities in Europe. So I reckon it should be flying around the world. Would be.
Place is pretty burnt over there at the moment, they tell me.
Yeah.
All buggers.
Terrible fires in Greece this summer and very, very hot. Anyone who doubts global warming,
Yeah,
it's only
that's
got
it.
to
You
look
only
at
got to
that.
look at stuff like that that's going on at the moment, don't you?
Yeah.
You know, like it's not good actually. We need to probably sort it out a bit better, I think. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Depends how many beers you've had. If you after a decent pizza, I'd say no. But once you've had a few,
Doesn't matter.
what's on it. I don't think.
Yeah, so you like a beer?
Oh, every now and again,
Yeah.
I used to probably drink a few more now than I do now.
Yeah.
Again, age catches up with you a bit. It's sometimes you wake up now with a hangover and you didn't have anything to drink.
Yeah, I'm like that some days. Like, what do I do? I only had like one can. What's going on? You know. Where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years, Garth?
Look, hopefully very close to retirement from work, so I do have a bit of time to go and to do the things I'd like to do. That's the plan at the moment.
Yeah.
Probably 10 years.
Yeah.
You'll see me done.
Still racing, you reckon?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I'd be racing myself, but I'm contemplating being a car owner with an anchor and encouraging some young people to come into the sport if they wanted to.
Because there's no one that does that in ACAs, is there?
No, there isn't. You know, it's a fairly low. You know, it used to be called a budget division. It's not really, but people who run it aren't wealthy necessarily. So you know, if you're spending the money, you want to enjoy it yourself.
Yeah.
But you know, by the time I'm 62 or so, which I'll be in 10 years, I won't be racing, but I'd still like to be involved. And if that's helping someone into a car and running it, then you know, I expect that's what I'll certainly contemplate doing.
Yeah, excellent. No, that's good. There should be more of that in the sport, I think. We've got a few sprint car teams, like Tony Clasner, he's got Jamie Britton driving him. And we haven't got any super sedan teams, I don't think, that I can think of.
No, not that I can.
Missing anyone, but
not that I can think of.
It'd be good to see a lot more of that come into Telly.
Yeah.
We've got a great little speedway sort of family down here, and we've got some bloody good drivers down here. As you know, we've won that many state titles, Australian titles with all the divisions that we've got. So no one can definitely say that we can't drive down here.
No, that's right.
Yeah. Do you have a professional athlete that you follow or look up to, or?
No, not really. I used to take a great interest in track and field, Olympics, 100 metres, and the long distance running in Olympics and World Championships. I don't really follow that anymore. So
I've been watching the World Championships at the moment. Actually, there's long been on in Budapest, Hungary. Yeah, I think that's where it was. And I'm a track and field person. I was a runner when I was in school, and my word, they're quick now. Like to what we was. No, I don't reckon I'd be able to keep up with any of these boys anymore.
My favourite athlete back in the 80s, again a long time ago, was Daley Thompson, the decathlete.
Yeah.
You know, the decathlon's a fantastic event for just to display someone's speed and strength and agility. To do all those 10 events at that level and be very good at all of them is incredible. You see blokes like him doing it. Daley Thompson's just an incredible athlete.
Yeah, him and I used to be a big supporter of Carl Lewis back in the day too, 100 metres.
Yeah,
Ben
I think
Johnson before he got done with the cheating.
Before his eyes turned yellow.
Yeah.
Look, Carl Lewis, he was a magnificent runner.
Yeah.
And long jumper. He won a gold medal at the Olympics in the long jump as well.
Yeah. And the Kenyans, they're good at long distance. It's amazing how well they go at long distance, them fellas. What sport would you like to try if you wasn't into speedway? What would you be doing?
If I wasn't as old as I am, I'd probably still be playing footy. I played footy till I was 34, and I loved that.
That's a fair age to play football too.
Yeah, only at amateur level down here with uni. But you know, footy's footy. You still get the same bumps and bruises. I think no matter where you play. My son, as I said, he's 9. He's just getting into 10-pin bowling. I go to that with him. And I used to bowl when I was a kid, so I'm enjoying doing that with him. It's a great sport.
Straight in the gutter I go when I go bowl. It's like I can't get onto it.
Yeah, it's a great sport for parents and kids to do together. There's no difference in the field size. There's no difference. You don't have to be strong. You don't have to be fast. Everyone can do it. So you know, we enjoy going together, which is a great thing.
Oh, that's excellent. So was you a midfielder or a back line or a forward line player?
I played most of my footy. I was going to say my career. It's not really a career when you're playing amateurs. I played most of my footy in the back line with ambitions of being a forward. If I could sneak up and jag a goal or two, I did. So
as a normal backline player, thanks.
I didn't have the same failings as most backmen that couldn't kick goals. Always thought I was pretty good. So don't know if that was true or not.
I was a midfield player, and I used to hate it. I used to run too much and I like to sit there and kick a few goals every now and then. What's your biggest fear in life? A few difficult questions now.
Failure.
Yeah.
To be a professional person, a lawyer or a doctor, or to work in any profession, failure is a driver. You don't want to get anything wrong.
Yeah.
You pride yourself on your professionalism and your work, and the work that you put out. You don't want to get things wrong.
So did you work for a firm, or did you have your own firm?
Did a couple of years at Legal Aid to start with, and then I did 14 years at a firm, and then 9 years as a barrister working for myself.
Yeah, right.
So I've done it all.
You've done it all. You've been around the block a few times with the lawyer side of things. Yeah. What motivates you to work hard?
I think it was instilled in me as a kid. Everyone that I knew growing up worked hard, worked to the best of their abilities. It's a bit like a second nature. When I came to the job in now, it's a bit more of a 9 to 5 than I was used to, and I still wake up at the same time in the morning, and I've got 2 hours to do nothing. I'm not quite sure what to do with myself. Back when I worked for myself doing the criminal trials, you'd be off to work at 5:36 in the morning.
Yeah, right.
Don't have to do that anymore. So
that's good. There's a big smile on the face when you say that, Garth. If there's one thing you could change about yourself, what would it be?
I think I could probably be a lot healthier than I am. I could probably live a healthier lifestyle than I do. I'm disciplined in my professional life. I'm disciplined, hopefully, in my sporting life. I'm a bit ill-disciplined in my exercise regime and what I eat, as you can see.
I'm the same. Well, I don't put weight on, though, which annoys me. I'd like to put a couple of kilo on, but I just can't.
No, I can tell you how. It's quite easy.
Yeah.
I've got to knock a few off before I go for my medical in about 3 weeks to get the license.
Can you still fit in there, mate?
I can get into this one. The other one's a bit tight. I don't know. I hope Matt Smith's watched it. I don't know how he got into it.
Because you went to containment suits last year, didn't you?
I've had a containment seat for a long time now. They've changed a little bit. The one that's in this car and the one that's in the new car, they are more difficult to get in than the first generation of them that I had. But it's more how far the roof runs out over the bars rather than the seat itself that makes it difficult to get into.
Are they comfier than the old seats?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Safer, of course, as well.
Much safer. When I first started, you spent a lot of your time holding onto the steering wheel to keep yourself upright.
Yeah, right, eh? Yeah.
The seats, you had the rib support and maybe a headrest, but they didn't really support you. You've got shoulders and arms were sore every Sunday. Now it's like being in a lounge chair. You're driving with your fingertips and much more, so you can concentrate much more on racing and not just holding yourself up in the chair. Yeah. So that's a massive improvement both in safety and in ergonomics, I guess is the word.
Well, they had to really make them a bit safer, really, didn't they? Like the old seats weren't. There's not a lot around the side here with the old seats. In our 500, we still run one of the old seats, mainly because we can't get a containment seat in it because it's only a narrow body. But there's no real protection around the sides of your arms or anything.
No. I had a reasonable crash at Carrick using one of the old seats, just flat-sided the wall, and it bent the rib support, and it bent the headrest, and it bent the seat. So my knees were hitting everything, my hands were hitting everything, and I was really sore after that. And that's what really drove me to get one. And I've had a few reasonable bingles, including that rollover last year, and it's not the same. And the head and neck restraint as well, you get no soreness at all now.
So they've gone completely away from them foam things now, haven't they? The neck wraparounds and onto the harness device.
Well, I don't even understand why they're still allowed. They don't do anything.
No.
They do not do anything.
Yeah. I think most divisions have gone to them now.
Yeah.
I think if any, and I might be wrong here, if any, I think street stock still allow them, but I think they're about the only division that does.
Yeah, we still allow them, but again, I don't understand. If you haven't how much do you value your life? How much do you value your health?
Yeah.
They are $600 or $700 or $800 depending on what you get, but you get 8 or 10 years out of one if you look after them. $100 a year to save your neck in a crash, it's not much.
It's not rocket science, is it?
It's not.
Definitely not rocket science. So what is your favourite thing about your speedway career, Garth?
I've enjoyed, the thing I've really enjoyed about it is the people that I've met and the friends that I've made. As I said, made friends all around the country. Wherever you race, you meet really terrific people, and I think that's been the one thing that I've really most enjoyed about it. It's great fun driving the car, it's great fun winning a race or two here or there, but the thing that I'll take out of it when the time has come to hang up the helmet and perhaps not be involved anymore is that I'll still have those friendships.
Those friendships, yeah. Like I said, they're a great bunch of blokes. Proudest accomplishment in Speedway?
Winning a feature race.
Yeah.
When I started, I never thought I'd win a race, and to actually do it was a very, very rewarding experience.
Yeah.
And I won a couple. I fell into one. I thought, well, that's fair enough. These things happen. People break down. But the most memorable one was at Latrobe, and I led every lap, and no one got near me. And I thought, well, to come from never having raced a car, not knowing how to work on a car, to 10 years later winning a feature, it was pretty emotional, and I was very, very. So it was a very, very rewarding experience.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. That's good to see. Like, you can tell that you're very passionate towards the racing, which is good. Like, I find if you're passionate, you'll always achieve something out of it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know whether that's probably the best way to explain it, but yeah, that's the way I see things, and that's good. What would you be singing at a karaoke night?
Oh, badly. I've never met anyone as tone deaf as I am.
Yeah, right.
I cannot sing.
I could name a couple of people that I know, but I won't mention them on camera.
Geez, they would have to be very flat.
No.
But if Mark Crossan watches this, I'll say it for his benefit because he's been ribbing me about this for about 20 years.
Yeah.
Dancing Queen.
Dancing Queen. No worry, Cody Gay, I did one with him. He was, damn, I wish I was a woman or something, wasn't it? I couldn't believe that. How you going, Cody, if you're watching? Nicknames?
When I was a kid, my nickname was Boris, for reasons that I don't understand.
You don't understand?
No idea why that was the case.
Yeah, right.
My nickname at the footy club was Brooksy.
Yep.
It was just a carry on from Garth Brooksy, which was about as intelligent as you get at a football
club. You look
club.
a little bit like him too, I think.
No, I don't think so.
I'll have to look that up. I'll have to get a photo up, both of you together, and just have a look at that, because I do see some similarities there.
Haven't got the voice, and certainly haven't got the bank balance.
If you were stranded on an island, who would you like to be stranded on there with, and why?
Just one person?
Oh, no, it can be as many people as you want.
It depends on how long you're going to be there for, I guess. Albert Einstein.
Albert Einstein?
Yeah, right. I have a very amateur interest in physics.
Yep.
I don't understand general or special relativity. I'd like Albert to explain it to me.
Explain it to you, yeah. You're a very smart man back in his day.
I think genius is the word.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So I read a lot of, not a lot, I read physics. I'm actually reading an Einstein biography at the moment.
Yeah.
I cannot work out time dilation and why, if you're travelling faster than the speed of sound, time goes backwards. So it's faster than the speed of light, time goes backwards. I can't.
Does it really?
Apparently.
Yeah, right. I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I don't think the Commodore will do that, so we're not going to get anywhere near it.
Speed of light. Well, you can't cross the speed of light. It's a barrier. Yeah,
right.
So you can travel up to the speed of light, but you can't get across it. You can, but if you start off fast in the speed of light, you can't get slower than it either. It's the dividing line in speed, and it's the dividing line in time.
You've got a favourite book? I presume you like to read.
My favourite books of all time were the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy books.
Yeah.
I read them as a kid and I've read them again since.
Yeah.
As an adult, I tend more to read biographies and non-fiction.
Yeah.
As I say, I'm interested in physics and science. Probably my favourite book as a mature adult, physics for Dummies.
Physics for Dummies.
Yeah.
I've seen that book actually. I didn't open it. I thought I'd still read it and I'd still be a dummy. So
no, I buy all sorts of physics-related books just to try and increase that knowledge and understanding I have it, because I do enjoy the mental gymnastics of trying to keep up with this very, very crazy world.
Excellent. Yeah, well, it is a crazy world and it just gets crazier all the time, so I just don't understand it sometimes. How would your friends best describe you reckon?
Most people describe me as grumpy. And I don't think my friends would be any different.
Yeah, right. I've never known you to be a grumpy person, very quietly spoken, but
I think people mistake contemplation for grumpiness.
Yeah. That quietly spoken, is that because you was a lawyer for so long and you can't yell at the judge? Or does that just come naturally?
No, I think it comes naturally. I'm not an egocentric person. I don't like to talk about myself much. It was actually a big decision to get you to come and do this. Yeah. I'm a pretty quiet and introverted person generally. People probably wouldn't believe it. I'm quite shy. I'm not keen on talking to people.
Quite shy. Yeah.
So I think my friends would probably say that I'm loyal, but quiet.
Yeah. We've been meaning to get down here for quite a while, dude. Still in last season we spoke about coming down.
Yeah, we did.
And I had to get put back because I was doing stuff or you was busy, and when you said you wanted to do one again, it was like, yep, we got to get this done. So thank you very much for letting us come down. It's good. I like to sit down with different people and yak, and it's good for our a lot of people out there know the driver and know the number, but they don't know about the driver, and that's why we're doing this series, so our fans out there can sort of get to know the driver a bit better, which is, I think, is great. Aside from necessities, what one thing could you not go a day without?
Probably a good cup of coffee.
Yeah. I'm with you there. Got to have me coffee.
It has to be a good one, though.
Yeah.
So, normally a trek across the road at work to get a cup of coffee.
Are you an instant coffee man or a percolator man or a coffee machine?
Look, I'll have instant at home just to get moving, but it's a nice cafe coffee during the day at work.
Yeah. Just not McDonald's coffee.
I can't remember the last time I had McDonald's.
No, you don't want to. It's not the nicest.
We're away racing this year on the mainland. We had a long drive and we stopped and got one from Hungry Jack's, and that was pretty disgusting.
Yeah, right. I haven't tried Hungry Jack's. I wasn't keen after going to Macca's and trying that one. What would you do if you won the lottery?
I'm not one of those people that says that they wouldn't quit their job. You wouldn't see me for dust. Yeah. If I won, I don't see why you'd bother working. To be honest, there's a lot to do, a lot to see, a lot to experience. That we're only here once, and I'm closer to the end than the beginning. So, if I won, as I said, if I won the lotto, I'd be on a plane or I'd be going somewhere doing something.
Yeah. I can see a good spot out there for jacuzzi and a pool and a spa too. So
yeah, probably a tennis court or something.
Tennis court, you like tennis?
Oh, look, I'm as bad at tennis as I am at golf.
Yeah, right.
But, give everything a try.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you got to give everything a go at least once. Otherwise you haven't lived, I don't reckon. What's the most daringest thing you've ever done? Apart from have kids.
Apart from have kids. There's quite a few that most people probably don't think are daring, but I'm not scared of heights. I'm not thrilled by it.
I hate them. Can't stand them.
I went to the Grand Canyon and went out on the viewing platform. Can't remember the name.
Oh yeah,
it's about a mile and a half above the bottom, and it's all perspex or something. You can look down through it, and there were people screaming and crawling, and it took a bit of effort to walk out onto that.
There's one in Malaysia somewhere too, a big bridge you walk across, it's glass,
Yeah.
and as you tread on it, it pretends it's cracking.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, I'd be out of that.
I enjoy flying, and a couple of years ago I took my first flight at the helm of a plane, and that was pretty exciting.
Yeah, right.
I do intend to learn to fly at some stage. I was planning on starting this year, but I haven't got around to it yet.
Yeah. So become a pilot.
Look, I'd get as far as the local licensee could fly around your local airport. That's the first stage. If I could do that and take a trip on a beautiful day like this out over the river and up to the mountain and back, that'd be...
Plane or helicopter?
Plane.
Yep.
Haven't got the coordination for helicopter.
Yeah, right. Are you a clean or a messy person?
I'd like to say I'm a clean person, I just don't act that way.
Yeah, right.
The house, if you went in there, is a mess. I try, but I don't get there.
Yeah. Oh, you live by yourself, so you can do what you like, mate.
Well, there are better things to do than...
And your gorgeous little dog, of course.
Yeah, well, he's pretty tidy.
Yeah.
There are better things to do than vacuum.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't want one of those little remote control ones that does it all themselves. That's great. What's your favourite childhood memory?
Probably going to Simmons Plains. Yeah. The touring car race, the touring car round back in the 70s. Alan Moffat, Peter Brock, Colin Bond, Pete Gagan. Graham Parsons ran up front that year. That was pretty exciting for everyone who was at the track. But yeah, I used to love going to Simmons Plains as a kid. The anticipation a few weeks out when you knew it was coming, and then because we were racing or there for whatever reason, you'd be there very early on the Saturday and the Sunday, and still there late at night. It was a full weekend. Yeah,
those days are gone now, aren't they? Nowadays the race is over, they're packed up, they're gone.
Look, I don't know.
Yeah, I went to one a couple of years ago, and they were packing the transport right before the last race had even started.
Yeah, right.
It was just amazing, and by the time the race had finished, they more or less only had to load the cars on, and they were out of there. I think I don't know how to put it, but I used to love going to motorsport events, and after the event had finished, the event would just start. If you know what I mean, you'd get round, it'd be a big family environment, talking and having a beer and a yak. Where that seems to be disappearing from a lot of our motorsport nowadays, especially speedway.
Yeah, speedway finishes late at night.
Yeah.
The circuit racing, there always used to be barbecues and things in the pits afterwards. I can remember many Sunday nights at Simmons Plains. We were there to 8, 9, 10 o'clock at the barbecues and so on. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I remember I've left the Trove at 2 o'clock in the morning, the Trove Speedway. So late nights, finished 11, 12 o'clock, and then you'd be still there till 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
And then go home.
Done that a few times. They started to turn the lights off and kicking us out.
Yeah, they don't like hanging around for that long. Do you have a favourite movie?
My favourite movie is Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm. Good movie, actually. I've watched that one.
Yeah. Really impacted me when I first watched it. And I watch it every now and again still.
Yeah.
It must be 30 years old now, I guess.
Yeah, it'd be a fair age.
It didn't hurt that I was always a big fan of Bruce Springsteen, and he wrote the score for most of the songs and sang the title song, so I enjoyed that anyway.
Great singer.
Yeah.
Absolutely great singer. One of the last of the old school rockers.
Yeah.
Music's not music quite it used to be anyway. Favourite subject in school?
When I was at school, my favourite subject was PE.
PE?
Yeah,
I was too. I
loved it, yeah. But I enjoyed maths. I wasn't that good, and that's probably why I still struggle with the physics these days.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy maths.
A lot of us liked PE because we had a hot teacher.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, we're there. But, yeah, no, we loved it. What do you do to keep fit?
The gym.
Yeah.
Go to try and hit the gym 3 or 4 times a week. Since I had COVID July last year, I had a very mild version of long COVID. I hadn't been able to do anything until about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I started getting to the gym again. But before then, it was solid hour and a half, 3 or 4 times a week. At the moment, it's about 20 to 30 minutes while I build up again. COVID really was a physical setback.
A lot of people got the long COVID, and I was one of the lucky ones. I got COVID, but I don't think I got the long COVID. But yeah, it rattled a lot of people.
Yeah, I'd never had a headache in my life until I got COVID, and now I still get them. And if I exercise for too hard for too long, I get a headache.
Yeah, right.
It's quite annoying because I do enjoy physical activity. And as I said, it's probably one of my failings. I'm not as fit and as healthy as I should be. Yeah. And you know, I went to the gym this morning and did about 30 minutes, and I couldn't have done any more. And it wasn't hard work. It wasn't intense, but it was enough. Yeah. And hopefully, you know, by the time we start racing again, I'll build up a bit more fitness. I struggled with fitness last year because I couldn't train at all. And, you know, the cars are the same. Everyone's running the same sort of stuff. The difference between winning and losing is the driver.
Yeah, right.
And
so are these cars more a physical car or more of a mental car?
Mental.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You're always thinking about where you're running, where everyone else is running, how to get the best out of them. Because, you know, as I said at the start of the interview, we're limited in our grip. So you've got to keep on the ball to keep them running. Yeah.
What song would best sum you up as a person?
I don't know how to answer that one.
I've got him beat.
It would have to be, as I said, Bruce Springsteen's my favourite. Yeah. It'd have to be a Springsteen song, I suspect. Or more recently, you know, you say the last of the old rockers. I like the Killers. They put out some good songs. Yeah. Waiting on a Sunny Day.
Waiting on a Sunny Day. Who sings that one?
Bruce.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I've heard that one. I might have to look that one up when I go home.
It was on the album that he wrote after 9/11.
Oh, right, eh? Yeah.
I think a very powerful song.
Yeah. I'll have to have a listen, see what I reckon of it. On a scale of 1 to 10, well, how funny are you, mate?
10.
10,
absolutely,
yeah. Right. You hear that, boys? You've got to make sure
Yeah, no, I don't know anyone as funny as me.
Right.
So you're laughing?
I like it. What's one thing you'll never do again?
One thing I'll never do again. No, I can't think of an answer to that one. I've got no regrets about what I've done.
That's a great way to live life.
Yeah. People often ask would I be a lawyer again. I can't think of another job that I would have wanted to have done, having done it for so long. You know, I'd probably phrase this in the negative. I would never again wait so long to start racing. Probably would have done it earlier if I'd had my time again.
Favourite colour?
Yellow.
Yellow. Why?
I have, I don't know, some association with yellow since I was a kid. My school sports group was yellow.
Oh, yeah.
The Hawks are gold.
Oh, yeah, so they had to bring Hawthorn back into it, didn't we?
Yeah.
So when you was growing up, did you always want to be a lawyer?
From reasonably young, probably from the time I went to college.
Yeah.
I thought that's what I wanted to do.
So did you go to college and uni here in Tassie?
Yeah, Launceston College and then uni in Hobart.
Yeah, cool, excellent. Plans for the future?
At the moment, it's to consolidate myself in my new job and to make sure I'm doing that to the best of my abilities. I've got a lot to learn. I've never worked in the public service before, and it's a very, very different world to private practice. Yeah. So that's going to take me a while. But long-term plans are to be in a financial position within the 10 years to retire comfortably and do the things I want to do. Yeah. My son's 9; he'll be 19 in 10 years. So hopefully I'll have myself organised enough so that he can get a good start, whatever he wants to go into.
I really do think you're on the right track.
Yeah, I've got a place in Melbourne that I bought 10 or 15 years ago, so that if he wants to go to uni in Melbourne, there'll be a house for him.
How does he go with the car? Has he got any plans himself to jump in a race car at any stage?
He hasn't suggested it yet. He does enjoy coming into the shed and tinkering around when he's here and helping with the car. He doesn't come to the race much. I've got don't have much time with him as it is because I'm separated from his mum, and so the time that I have, I spend with him. And he was there the night I rolled, and that upset him a bit.
Yeah, right.
So I haven't taken him on a night where I've run again, but we go to the speedway together when I'm not racing, and he enjoys it.
Yeah. I don't think I've met him. I'll have to.
Yeah, no, he doesn't come very often.
Yeah.
But when we're not running, he'll come along and he enjoys it.
Yeah.
But he hasn't expressed any interest in racing himself yet.
Right. That might be a good thing.
We'll save a few dollars.
So, do we plans for this season with the car? What are we aiming at this season, Garth?
Well, hopefully we'll get to a practice day in the new car and see how that feels. I'm pretty confident that it's a good enough car and that it'll be an improvement on this car. I want to get back closer to the front than I have been the last few years. I've not been happy with how I've gone. I'm driving all right. I'm just not quite where I want to be. So I want to be closer to the front again.
Are they getting faster, or are you getting a little slower, you reckon?
I talked to a couple of people about this not that long ago. We've got MyLabs now. You can watch you can look at your times and see what your times are like. When I first started, if I ran the races I ran now, I'd win everything.
Yeah.
That's how fast they are.
Yeah.
And I'm midfield at best at the moment.
Yeah.
So the fast guys, our lap records in these cars are faster than super sedans were 15 years ago.
That's not bad.
So they get around all right. So if you're up the front, you're going pretty fast. I mean, the lap record I think at Latrobe is under 15 seconds, which is pretty fast in any sort of car.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
My plans are to get the hang of the new car and hopefully get a bit close to the front, maybe snag a heat win or two, and then if things go the right way, to get over the mainland and run a bit more.
Over that Australian title.
Or even perhaps a bit later on after Easter. The Victorians have a good series later in the year. We went over, Rod Bassett and I went over this year, and we ran a couple of nights at Moama, a couple of nights at Rushworth, Horsham, Waganya, which is a little border.
Waganya, I haven't heard of that one.
It's up near Wangaratta.
Yeah, right,
No, that's a lie. It's up near Wodonga.
Wodonga, right.
So the Albury-Wodonga type of area. It's right on the Murray. 600 metres on the pole line, nice long track.
That's not bad. Yeah.
So,
there's Leeton.
Leeton up in New South Wales.
Oh, mate, that'd be a good track to go to. That's 900 and something metres on that one.
And it's a bit of a square or a triangle.
Yeah, there's only a fence on the front straight, and there's no fence anywhere else. But
yeah.
I remember talking to Callum Harper about that track. He loves it. Leeton, he reckons she's good. You can open her up, and
Absolutely.
And they use oil, not water, apparently.
Yeah,
That'd be interesting.
keep the dust down.
Yeah. Do we have any people, sponsors you'd like to thank before we say goodbye?
Well, as I said, I hadn't picked up any this year, but I made sure we sat in front of these sponsors that have been with me. CBMR Enterprise Proprietary Limited. No, that's Breeny's business for building race cars.
Yep.
And Devonport Garage Doors, that's Breeny.
Yep.
Basically since I've had this car, every off-season it's been up at Breeny's place, and he's worked on it. He's given it the love that it needed, and without that,
he's good at it.
Absolutely. He's one of the hidden gems in Speedway in Tasmania, but his knowledge and his willingness to help people and to work on the cars. So he did that for me for basically 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So I've left him on there, so he gets a bit of a run.
He's a good bloke, Brony. There's no doubt. He will be missed this season. But I have heard he's getting into circuit racing.
I have heard that. Yeah.
So we haven't seen the last of him yet. So.
No, not quite.
But he definitely knows how to build them, and he's a top bloke. And he's always there to help you out if you ever need someone. Yeah,
I've never had to ask him twice to help me, which has been fantastic. Without him, I wouldn't have been able to do what I've done the last few years. And the same goes for Rod and Adrian Bassett. They're working on my car up in Launceston as we speak, getting that going. I don't have to ask them twice to help.
Yeah.
It's the same with just about everyone in the division. If I need anything, there's always someone there to help me.
Yeah, excellent, awesome. Well, that's great. Thanks for joining us today, Garth.
No worries at all. Thanks for coming down.
Bloody awesome, mate. Well, I've totally enjoyed it. It's been a while coming, but we finally got it done. And we can hopefully wish you the best for the season.
Thank you.
Hope all goes well. Hope you get a feature win as well as a heat win.
Oh, look, if a feature win comes my way, I'll be sure to.
Well, you're definitely going to have a good enough car to do it, that's for sure.
I'll be sure to get the Tas Auto shots footage.
Excellent. And if you need footage, I did a GoPro underneath Matty Smith's car last season. So get on there and have a look.
Right.
You'll find out some very information off that car. I put up under there. But anyway, people, thanks for joining us today. Thanks, Garth, for coming along. And don't forget to support your local speedways, because we really do need this support. The more support the speedways get, the better it is all around. Get in the pits and check out an AMCA and check out all other divisions. And don't forget to like and subscribe that corner. And we'll see you next time on Shed Session. Thanks very much, everyone. Bye.